webinar. My name is Nikki Malichi, and I'll go ahead and get things kicked off. So, as mentioned in my emails, today's session is around making the switch from CardioLog on-premise to software as a service, moving to the cloud. So the goal of this presentation is to keep you up to date and informed of some of the key benefits of moving to our SaaS solution and highlight some of the key main differences. A bit of housekeeping for you. This webinar is being recorded. And if you want to share this with a colleague in the next few days, we'll go ahead and send an email to everyone who's signed up with the recording as well. You can also connect to us on Twitter with the Twitter handle @CardioLog. And of course, if you have any questions at all, we'll leave some time towards the end of the webinar for questions. And you can send questions through the question box within the GoToWebinar panel. Also, for any licensing questions specifically, please email me directly. So, in regard to the agenda for today's webinar, we'll start out with a very short introduction. And we'll then talk a bit about why some of our customers are choosing SaaS and its advantages. Then my colleague Sapir will jump into an overview of CardioLog Analytics SaaS, and then go on to presenting the CardioLog Engage tool, where we'll learn a bit more about how we can leverage this to gain further insights, as well as turning these insights into action. And again, as mentioned previously, if we have time, we'll be taking some Q&A at the end, so feel free to just send your questions throughout the course of this presentation. Now, since you're already using CardioLog Analytics, you'll know that our goal is to help our customers constantly improve SharePoint based on how it's being used. So there are three main pillars that we talk about. As you know, the first is to monitor, which is tracking the usage within SharePoint. The second is engaging users, asking them what their needs are, what their pain points are, and what's not working for them. And then finally, the most important pillar is to enhance, improving SharePoint based on those two pillars. And the idea is to have actionable metrics which will allow us to constantly make SharePoint better for our users. A very common scenario that may resonate with you all is that stakeholders and administrators from organizations approach us and want to know very specific facts, such as how can I determine my adoption levels each step of the migration process, for example, or can we identify which content is not being accessed, or what are the most users doing in the portal, what's the most popular search, where are my users coming from, or what's the most popular content, and so forth. And we're then able to recommend very tailored metrics and analytics reports to answer these important business questions. Because at the end of the day, without having these vital pieces of information, organizations aren't making informed business decisions based upon actionable metrics. So on that note, Sapir, let's jump right on in. I will hand this over to my colleague Sapir to get things kicked off. So over to you, Sapir.
Great, thank you, Nikki, and thank you everyone for joining today. So to start, let's talk about the advantages of using an analytics solution as a service versus hosting it on premises. So what you will see today when we go over CardioLog Analytics SaaS is that everything is pretty similar to what you already know from CardioLog on-premise. The metrics are pretty much the same, the reports are pretty much similar, but there are two key advantages of using a SaaS solution for your analytics needs. The first is all the advantages that come with a SaaS solution, which we will cover shortly. And the second one, which is the other main difference between CardioLog SaaS and CardioLog on-prem, is that CardioLog SaaS is fully integrated with Microsoft's Power BI. So starting with the advantages of using a SaaS solution in general. So first, quick setup. In order to get started with Cargo Analytics SaaS, all you need to do is install an add-in or a WSP solution to the site collections that you want to track. And that basically it. From this point, you'll start monitoring data and get your analytics ready. So you don't need to install anything on-premise. You don't need to prepare servers, prepare a database, or run any installers. This is a very simple and quick setup. The second is that there are no infrastructure, licenses, or maintenance. Because everything is hosted on our end, you don't need to own any servers or any licenses for Windows or SQL. We do all the hosting, and that means that this can save you a lot of time on maintenance and version upgrades and updating and maintaining the servers in general. And this is time that you can use and just save these efforts for you, because we do all of these things and we take care of the maintenance and all the version updates. Third, we have high availability. When you host a software on-premise, you probably know that sometimes servers might go down or services might have stopped. There might have been some network connection issues, and that might cause problems with using the tool. And this is especially important for an analytics solution, which is important to have high availability so we can make sure that we're always capturing data and we're not losing any valuable information. With a SaaS solution, since our solution is hosted in Azure, we can guarantee high availability, so you don't need to worry about these things, and you can make sure that you collect data and get reports at all time. Unlimited scaling options. If you start having larger traffics, if you suddenly decide to track more sites, or if your adoption is getting really well and more users are starting to use the portal, you don't need to worry about scaling up your on-premises servers or finding new servers. This happens automatically for you with a SaaS solution. The solution basically grows with you, and you don't need to worry about increasing any infrastructure. Very important is that the solution is continuously updated and enhanced. And we continuously update and add new features to both CardioLog on-premise and CardioLog SaaS. But with CardioLog SaaS, we have the ability to release new features and new enhancements a lot quicker, because we're not dependent on customers to have to run an installer and do a version update. These version updates happen automatically without customers having to do anything. And this allows us to release new updates and new features a lot faster and to have ongoing delivery of new and exciting features. And also, you can connect to data anywhere. So if in your on-premises server, you can only connect to it while you're in your office in the intranet. Because this is a SaaS solution, you can connect to it from anywhere, even from your mobile phone when you're on the go. Since this is in the internet, you can log in from wherever you want. So just to give you a bit more background about how the solution works, the idea is very similar to how CardioLog on-premise works, with slight differences. So first, here on the left, we can see the data source. These are all the platforms that we can track using CardioLog Analytics SaaS. To capture data, we have two main methods. The first is using the JavaScript tracking code. This is the tracking code that we have developed, and it allows us to capture information about users' behavior, like what pages they're viewing, how much time they spent viewing each page, what links they click on, what they search for, and so on. And we combine this information with data that we pull from these platforms. And because our solution is built specifically for these platforms, we can pull very specific information that's only relevant to these platforms. So for example, thinking about SharePoint, we have a lot of information about the portal content. So we generate the tree structure that I'm sure you're all familiar with, which allows you to filter and segment any report based on parts of the portal that you're interested in. Also, if some page was viewed, we can know not just what was the URL of this page, but also what's the title of this page, who is the owner of it. And you can also aggregate data for an entire logical level of the portal, whether it's a site, a library, and so on. This way you can also see unused content. Because we map the entire content of the portal, we can also identify what content is actually not being used. We also have a lot of information about users, groups, and user attributes. And you can use this information in order to filter and segment any report to focus only on the users and groups that you're interested in. Or if you would like to compare different segments and see how they're doing compared to one another. Finally, social activity. We have a lot of information about all the social features in SharePoint and Yammer. So if you're utilizing these features in your organization, it can be very insightful to see how users are using them. It can sometimes be more insightful to look at what users are liking rather than to see what pages are being viewed the most. Up until this point, everything is very similar to the way CardioLog on-premises works. The main difference starts from this point. So in this point, when data is captured, it's sent to our service, which is hosted in Azure. This is where we process the information and we prepare the actual analytics out of the raw data. Finally, for data visualization, we utilize Power BI. Power BI is a Microsoft platform for data visualization that allows you to connect to different data sources, starting from an Excel sheet to a database, and all the way to a third-party application like ours in this case. And it allows you to very easily create reports, and it has very powerful data visualization capabilities, which we'll see in just a few moments. Jumping over to the demo part of this presentation. So today we'll cover a few key reports in Cargo Analytics SaaS. And then we'll switch over to the other side of what we do, which is engagement tools. And we'll take a look at CardioLog Engage. So over here, you can see the Power BI interface, and you can already see some of the CardioLog reports. And as I mentioned, Power BI makes it really easy to create and customize your own reports. But we also went ahead and created a set of pre-made reports to make it easier for our customers to get started and get the analytics they need, even if they're not really sure what sort of metrics they should use in order to meet their goals. So we built a set of over 30 dashboards. These dashboards focus on main goals that many organizations who use SharePoint or Yammer usually have in their organization. And you can see this over here at the bottom. We have different reports around adoption, engagement, improving usability, optimizing portal resources, improving collaboration, and so on. Let's take a look at this report that we're seeing right now. This report is meant to give a high-level overview of how the portal is being used. First on the left, you can see the portal tree filter. This is very similar to what you know from the Analysis Center in CardioLog on-premise. This is a tree view of the portal, including all of the different farms or SharePoint tenants that you're tracking, and everything beneath them. So all the site collections, subsites, lists, libraries, and the actual items. So all the different pages, documents, list items, everything will be here in this portal tree filter. And you can use that in order to filter any report to focus only on parts of the portal that you're interested in. So for example, if you want to get information about your entire portal, including all of your farms and all of your tenants, you can just click on all to see information for everything together. But if you want to focus only on your SharePoint Online tenant, you can select just SharePoint Online. In the same way, if you're a site owner and you want to get information specifically about your site, you can just click on your site from the portal tree filter and get the relevant information specifically for your site. Or if you want to focus on a specific list, for example, if you have this one list that you normally use in order to publish news articles, for example, and you want to see how these news articles are doing, you can just click on the relevant list, and that would again filter the entire report to show you only the relevant information for items in this list. Another type of filter that you can use is based on the content type or the template in SharePoint. So if you want to focus only on documents, for example, or only on blog posts, you can just click on the relevant button, and that would also filter the report to show you only the relevant information. This also includes custom content types that you've added to SharePoint. So if you have your own template for announcements, for example, and you want to see how these announcements are doing across the portal, no matter where they were published, you can just click on the announcements button and get the relevant information. Let's talk about content. Content is something that is very important to a lot of our customers. They normally want to understand what areas of the portal are usually being used the most, what areas are most active, and what specific content items are trending and users are using the most. You can get all of this information from this area of the dashboard. And let's start with this chart. This chart also utilizes the portal tree structure. It allows you to drill down and see how usage data breaks down throughout your portal, starting from the top level of the portal and all the way down to the individual items. So let's see how we can do that. So starting from our all level, we can see that in total we had this amount of page views and this amount of unique users. So this is the total amount for our entire farm plus the SharePoint Online tenant. But if we want to see how this data breaks down, we can just click on the drill down button, and that would just take us to the next level. So we can see how the usage data breaks down between our SharePoint 2013 and SharePoint Online tenant. This can be very useful if you're doing a migration and you want to see is SharePoint Online taking off, or more and more users starting to use it now, so you can really see them compared one next to the other. We can drill down even further. So if we want to drill down into SharePoint Online, we can click on it, and that would also take us to the next level of our SharePoint Online tenant. So in this case, we can see all the site collections that are under this SharePoint Online tenant. So we basically can see everything that is in this area of the portal. And we can very easily understand which site collections are more active and getting more traffic. In this case, we can see that this one was the most active site collection. Let's drill down into it to see where the usage data comes from in this site collection. So over here we can see that we have a few subsites, but actually most of our traffic is coming from this site's list. Let's drill down into lists. Over here we have all the sites list, and again we can very easily understand which lists are more popular and how the usage data breaks down. We can drill down even further, so let's take site pages and drill down into it. This takes us to the level of the actual items. So over here we can see the pages that are under this pages library, and we can very easily see which pages are more popular and getting more page views and unique users. So this can be a great way if you want to compare different items that are within the same level of the portal, or if you want to investigate and drill down, see how your usage data breaks down across the portal. If you want to focus on specific content items, however, you can do this using this table. Because this is in Power BI, you can basically add any columns that you want to any table. So just to show you a few examples to some of the information you can get about each content item, you can see things like page views and average duration. We can also use this information in order to identify not only what were the top viewed content items, but also what were the items that have a low amount of page views or have not been viewed at all. So we can see if maybe we should position them better, if they're important, or if they're not relevant anymore, maybe we can delete them to free up some space in the portal. And again, I can use the filters to get specifically the information I need. So right now I can see what were the top viewed content items across the portal. But if I want to see what were the top viewed documents from a specific site, I can just do that by clicking on Document and on the site that I'm interested in. And that would filter this table to show me only documents from that specific site. If I want to see who viewed a specific item, so I see that this one is one of my top popular content items. If I click on it, I can see over here on the right which teams and which departments used this item the most. So here it looks like the business team is the one that used it the most, but the IT department, for example, haven't really used this item. I can also see this information for individual users. So if I drill down, I can see specific users. And if I click on this document again, I can see exactly which users viewed this item. This also works for sites, or for libraries. If I want to see who viewed the news list, I can just click on news, and that would filter this list of teams to show me only the teams who viewed this list. So I can see that the sales team viewed this list the most. And again, I can drill down to see exactly who are the users who viewed information from this list. If I want to see this from the other way around, if I want to see what the marketing department has been viewing, you can just click on the marketing department, and you can see that that filters the rest of the report to show me information about this department. So I can see how many active users I had from this department and how much time they normally spent viewing different pages. Over here, I can see what areas of the portal this department usually uses the most. These are the parts that are highlighted over the others. And over here in this table, I can see the specific content items that this department has been viewing. In the same way, I can do this for an individual user. So if I click on a specific user, I can see exactly what this user has been viewing, when and how many times they viewed each item, what was their average duration, how much time they spent viewing each item. Let's talk about adoption. Adoption is something that a lot of our customers are very interested in. They're always trying to find ways to engage their users and get them to use the portal more. So in this report gives you a high-level overview of the adoption. So first you can see how many of the total users in the organization are active, meaning that they've logged into SharePoint at least once in this time frame. But besides figuring out whether or not users log into the portal, you can also see a few more metrics that can help you understand the level of adoption. So for example, you can see how many pages they normally view in an average visit. If this is just one, this doesn't indicate a very good adoption and probably something that we would want to improve. You can also see how much time on average they spent in every time that they log into the portal, how many visits end after viewing only one page, and how many visits end within 30 seconds. Over here, we can also see how many times a week each visitor logs into the portal on average. If we want to learn more about who are the most and the least active users and teams within the organization, we can learn this from this dashboard. Over here, we have the breakdown by different departments, and we can very easily see which departments have the highest rates of inactive users. So we can see that in our case, the sales department, for example, has a very high rate of inactive users. If we click on it, we can see more statistics about this department. So we can see how many pages on average this department views in a visit, how much time they spent in every visit. And over here, we can see the users within this department, and we can very easily identify who are our top users and who is a bit lagging behind. So if we scroll down a bit, we can see all the users that are not very active. So if we're offering training, for example, or if we're doing some promotions to get users to use the portal a bit more, we can very easily identify these users who might need this extra push to make sure that we're really focusing our efforts where they're most needed. This information is coming from the SharePoint user profiles. So if you want to see this breakdown by any other attribute, like office, country, or custom attributes that you've added to SharePoint, you can do that simply by selecting the attribute that you want to see. So this information can be useful in order to understand whether or not users are using the portal and which users are inactive. But if you want to understand what users are doing once they're logged into the portal, you can understand this with this report. This report shows us the breakdown between contributors, participants, viewers, and inactive users. Contributors are users who added new content, so they contributed new content to the portal. Participants are users who didn't create content, but they might have liked some messages or replied to some conversations in SharePoint. We have viewers. These are the users who haven't done any of these things, but they viewed some pages in SharePoint. And then finally, we have inactive users. These are the users who haven't done any of these things. And finally, you can see the trend of total active users over time. We can also see this breakdown by different departments, and we can drill down to each department. Let's take the marketing department, for example, to see exactly who are the contributors, participants, and viewers in this department. Let's take a look at the usability category. Usability is something that can be very important, especially if you're trying to improve adoption and engagement. The user experience in the portal and how happy users are to use the portal and how easy it is for them can make a huge difference in the levels of adoption and engagement and really change how users think about the portal. And search is one of the key things within the usability category. A lot of users use search in order to navigate and get around the portal and find the information they need. And if search is not working well for them, they might get a bit frustrated, and that's definitely not the best experience that we would want them to have in the portal. Search is something that can be very easily optimized by having the right data. So here we can take a look at what were the top used search phrases across the portal or in a specific site. In our case, we can see that benefits was the top used search phrase. And this information can already be useful in order to understand what users are searching to see in the portal and what they're using the portal the most for. If we click on benefits, we can see more analytics for it. So we can see how many times it was searched for and by how many users. And this can really help us understand how popular this search term is. If you see that a lot of users are searching for a specific app or a link or a document, you can make their life easier by just putting this link or app in somewhere that will be more visible to them, like on the homepage or in some navigation menu, just to save them time and make their experience a bit better. You can also see what was the average number of results. If you see that the number of results is too low, you can check what happened. Maybe there's not enough content about this search phrase, so you can add more content, or maybe the content is actually there, but there might be some permissions issues, or maybe there are some optimizations that need to be done to the search schema, or you might need to add more search queries. You can also see what was the average search result position, and this means out of the search results page that users got, what results they usually clicked on. Was it the first result, the second result, and so on. In this case, we can see that users usually clicked around the 10th search result, which is not so good because it means that they had to go through around 9 other results until they were able to find the one that was relevant to them. This is something that we will definitely want to improve, and we can very easily do that by looking at what were the search results that users did click on and just pushing them a bit up within the search result page. And then finally, you can see what was the number of result clicks out of searches. And this metric is very important to understand how well search is doing in total and for a specific search phrase. Because if users search for something and then don't click on a result, it usually means that they couldn't find the information they were looking for, and they had to either change their search phrase or try to find the information they were looking for in some other way. So we talked about some of the pre-canned reports, but let's see how you can also create your own reports in Power BI. So by clicking on Edit Report, this brings me to an edit mode where I can customize any report that I want or add my own reports. So here, for example, if instead of seeing this breakdown by department, I want to see this breakdown by office, for example, I can just go here and change this to show me information by office. So this is how you can customize existing reports. But if you want to create your own reports, you can do that by clicking on this plus sign over here, which adds a blank page. And here you can just choose what sort of information you want to see in your report. All the information that was captured by Cargo Analytics is available here in the form of fields. And you can just select what fields you want to see in your report. It's pretty similar to how you would use a pivot table. So let's see an example. Let's say that we want to focus on our visitors. So I'll just go to the visitors menu and click on username. What that does is to open a list of all the usernames that are available in my dataset. I can choose what sort of information I want to see about each user. So for example, if I want to see just what's the email of each user, I can just add user email. So that adds another column to the table. And if you want to see more information about their usage, for example, how many page views they had, how many times they visited the portal, what was their average duration, when was the last time that they've used the portal, and so on. There are a lot of different metrics that I can choose over here, and that just adds more and more columns to the table. I can also choose how to visualize data. So instead of seeing this as a table, I can choose to display it as a chart. Or any of the other visuals that are available here. And all the capabilities you saw before of different visuals interacting with each other are also available when you create your own reports. So for example, let's go to the geolocation menu. By clicking on the geolocation hierarchy, that just opens up a map. And I can choose what sort of information I want to see over this map. So I might just want to see what was the number of visits for each geographical location. So I can drill down to see this information by country or by state to understand what were the most active geographical locations. And if I click on a specific geographical location, that interacts with this other visual over here to filter it to show me information about who are the users who logged in from this geographical location. In the same way, if I click on a user from this side, that filters out the table to show me where this user has logged in from. In general, you can use the map either with to show you information about where the users physically logged in from, what was their IP address, or you can use this based on information coming from their SharePoint profiles. In reports that you can create, you can also utilize the drill down capabilities. And this is a really great option for really to get deeper insights and to drill down from the macro to see the really small details of every single metric that you see here. For example, let's go to visitor attributes. So over here, you can see all the different departments that I have available. And I can choose what sort of information I want to see about each department. So let's take duration in minutes to see how much time they spent in the portal. Let's change this to be a chart. And I'll just sort this by duration to see who are the top departments. Now I can add more layers to my chart. So for example, if I want to drill down from the department to see who are the active users in each department, I can just go to visitors and just click on username. What that does is adding another layer to my chart. And here I can drill down and see the users within this department. I can add more layers. So what if I want to see exactly what each user viewed? Let's go to the portal tree menu and take tree URL. So that adds another layer over here. And now I can drill down and see exactly what each user viewed. So if I drill down into this user, for example, I can see exactly what were the URLs that this user viewed and which URLs they viewed the most. If you want to see exactly when they viewed each item, let's add date. And now we can drill down to each URL and see exactly when this user viewed each item. There are really a lot of options for what you can choose here. You might want to see where exactly this user logged in from when they viewed this particular URL at this time. So I'll just add the geolocation hierarchy, and then we can see exactly where they logged in from. So you can see that this user logged in from Boston. And I can also see, for example, what device this user has used when they viewed a specific item. So I'll just go to the Visitor Technology menu, and we can add device details. And then if we drill down, we can see that they used the PC, and maybe we also want to see what browser they used. Okay, so really you can add anything that you want here to investigate your data and drill down to get more insights about your data. So this can be a very great way if you have your own requirements and you want to build your own reports. If you want to just get quick information, if you have some specific question that you want to get information on, one of the really cool features in Power BI that I really love is the Ask a Question feature. So here you can just type a question in a native language and get a response back, which is a report. So for example, I can type how many page views, and that will return me the total number of page views I had in my portal. But I can also do how many page views in April, for example, to see how many pages I had specifically in April. Or I can do number of pages by month to see the breakdown. And again, I can choose how to visualize data. So here I might want to see this as a line chart, for example. And I can also combine different things here. So if I do how many pages by state, that opens up this map, and maybe I want to see by state and also by browser. Okay, so that shows me the different browsers on top of the map. So this can be very great if you want to just get quick information without having to really know what the available fields are. So this covers the part of analytics. Now let's switch over to talking more about our engagement tools. So everything that you saw so far was really about how the portal is being used and what we can do to improve it. And our goal is really to give something that we like to call actionable metrics. So instead of just showing you analytics, we really try to aim our reports to give you some information that you can take, and based on it, take some action in your portal, whether it's offering training to inactive users or getting rid of inactive content, optimizing search phrases that are not working so well, optimizing pages that are taking some time to load, and so on. But what we wanted to do with CardioLog Engage is take this to the next level, and not just show you this information, but also allow you to take some kind of an action in your portal. CardioLog Engaged is based on campaigns that you can run in your portal to further engage your end users. And what's powerful about it is that everything here is based on all the information that was captured by CardioLog Analytics SaaS. So we have a lot of information about users, like what department they're coming from, what office, and also what their usage habits, what time they normally log into the portal, what sites they normally visit, how much time they normally spend on each page, and also what they're doing at every single moment that they spend in the portal. This is very powerful information, and we can use that in order to send the right message to the right user at the right time. There are a lot of very powerful things that we can do with this, so let's see a few examples. So when building a campaign, you can first select who would be the audience of your campaign. So you can either target everyone in the organization or choose specific groups, whether it's SharePoint groups or a user segment, like their department, office, country, and so on. Or you can base this on users' behavior. So you might want to target new users who are logging into the portal for the first time or to a specific site or specific page. You might want to target inactive users, users who haven't visited the portal or a specific site in a while. You might want to send them an email getting their feedback or just telling them about some interesting things that are going in the portal to engage them to take a look and visit the portal. Or you might want to trigger engaged users, users who already viewed a specific page, a specific campaign, or already responded to a previous campaign that you ran in the past. Next, you can choose what would be the channel. Thinking about SharePoint, in-app messages can be very useful. These are messages that are shown on top of the SharePoint page. And this can be very useful to communicate with users. So while showing them information while they're already browsing through the portal can be very good because it can be relevant to what they're doing at that moment. And also you can be sure that you're not bothering them while they're doing other things. You can, of course, choose what would be the text and the design of the message. And you can also choose what would be the call to action. So, for example, you can choose just to have OK and cancel buttons, or maybe RSVP buttons if you want to use this to invite users to an event. In this case, you can have a follow-up campaign. So we might want to target users who clicked on maybe to ask them if now they already know if they're going to attend the event. Or maybe users who clicked on yes, you might want to send them an email with more details about the event. You can also use this for rating. So this can be very useful in order to get more feedback from users, whether it's just thumbs up, thumbs down, or 1 to 10 rating, 3 buttons rating, and so on. You might want to get more information from them, so you can use an open question or single or multiple choice, and you can just add the different choices here. And then finally, you can choose what would be the trigger. So you can either schedule this to be shown to the user at a specific time, whether it's 8 a.m. your time or 8 a.m. the user's time, no matter where they're located in. Or you can trigger this based on the user's behavior. So maybe when they're viewing a specific page, and maybe when they viewed it for over a certain amount of time, maybe after they just performed the search, or when they're viewing the search result page, when they're about to leave, scrolling down, and so on. And just to give you a few examples to what you can do with this, these are some of the pre-canned campaigns. So for example, you can use this for administrative actions. So if you want to notify people that a site was moved or going to be moved, you can just have a message displayed to them within the site, and you can also use this to redirect them to the new location. You can also use this for general messages, announcements, and greetings. This can be very useful if the goal in the organization is to reduce the amount of emails that get sent to employees. So it can be a lot friendlier to send a message within the portal while users are already getting exposed to content and already visiting the portal. So you can use this to maybe have an automatic birthday greeting if users have their birthday information in their profiles, or maybe just to general announcements to invite people to an event, and so on. And this can also be very useful in order to get more feedback from users. We have a lot of information about search, for example, but there's never a replacement to getting first-hand feedback from the actual user. And if we can ask them something right after they did a specific action, we can get very valuable feedback from them that they might not remember if we ask them the same question weeks or months after they did this action. For example, if we take search, we can ask a user right after they clicked on a search result, was this result helpful for you? Or maybe if we see that the user is spending too much time viewing the search result page, we can also ask him, what were you looking for? In the same way, if we see that the user is doing a few consecutive searches without clicking on any search result, we can also ask the same question. So this way we can really optimize the portal and really get very valuable feedback from our users to make sure that we give them the best possible experience. These were just a few examples, but really there are a lot of different things that you can do with this. And really the idea is to further engage users and based on the information that was captured by CardioLog Analytics. So at this time, we'll be happy to answer any questions. So if you have any questions, please write them down in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so one question we got here is about the data retention period. For how long do we keep historic data? And this is something that we allow customers to choose. You can define for how long you want to keep your historic data. It can be either a few months to a few years. Another question is what sort of training or consultation services we provide in order to work with Power BI. So first, working with Power BI in general can be very easy to work with the pre-canned reports. A lot of our customers use the pre-canned reports for most of their needs, and they usually only build reports if they have some special requirements and things that they're interested in seeing. In this case, we provide training in general. We have a training program for end users as well as for administrators to talk about the canned reports as well as Power BI in general and how to create and customize reports. And we also offer consultation services. This is where we can sit down with you and learn more about your requirements, and based on that, help you build the reports that are suited specifically for your needs. Another question we have here is, can we anonymize user private information like usernames, user emails, and so on? So the answer is yes, you can choose to anonymize any user identifiers, including username and emails, and any other user identifier information. In this case, data will still be linked to a specific user, so you can see analytics that are still correct. So you can see still the average time per user and so on. You just won't be able to link this information to a specific user. Okay, if there are any other questions, we'll be happy to take them offline. So please feel free to email us, and if you want to schedule another call to learn more about Cargo Analytics, SaaS, we have a lot more reports that we didn't show today, such as reports about engagement, optimizing resources, YAML reports as well. So if you want to learn more about that, or if you have any questions, please reach out and we'll be happy to schedule a call specifically for you. Thank you everyone for your time.